Hi, and welcome back to the Tales of Lost. I created a psychic race. In this video, we're gonna talk about people who got psychic powers from the mysterious beings, but we will explore them in the next one. Here are the early concepts of these beings, but I want to explore them more to see the possibilities. I would like to call them as King Suters. So, let's start. There was a group of people who used to travel from city to city, but one of their travels was about to change their life forever. These folks entertained people with music, dance, and brought joy wherever they went. Sometimes they spread in the streets to beg or use fake fortune-telling tricks to put some extra money in their pockets. While on the way to the next city, they stopped their caravans and set their tents to spend the night. But one young girl among these fellows couldn't sleep and got out of her tent. At first, she thought it was wind, but then realized a very calming song coming from the hill that they are not so far from. After a short hike, she came to a swamp with unusual soil color. At first, she checked it with a stick if it was safe to proceed, then cautiously continued walking into the middle of the swamp, while wondering where this beautiful voice was coming from. Suddenly, she felt something soft under her boot. She put her lantern forward and realized it was the head of someone with long white hair. At first, she was too stunned to scream, but then got confused with an expression on his face. He had a smile on his face, like he was having some pleasant dream. She kneeled next to the head and reached out to his hair while trying to understand how his hair was not getting dirty in the mud. The second she touched the hair, the whole scene turned into a grassland under the bright sun with a warm breeze. She found herself standing next to a man who was proudly looking at a castle in the distance. His appearance gave away the fact that he is or was the king of this land. Under the confusion, she realized the song was getting stronger and stronger, and suddenly, the king turned to her and said, "Leave if you don't want to get hurt, young lady." All of a sudden, the whole scenery disappeared, and she finally saw the source of the song. A very beautiful man floating gracefully above the mud and calmly singing. But then, he stopped singing and slowly turned his head to her. His beautiful face became horrifying, his mouth opened wider than usual, and a deafening scream started to get out of his mouth. She grabbed some of the king's hair and ran out of the swamp. Her heart was pounding, almost getting out of her chest, when she finally reached her tent. The next morning, she showed the hair to one of their elders. After she described what she saw in the king's dream, the elder said it was one of the kings who died almost 2 decades ago in a far lands that even this old lady hadn't visited. Out of curiosity, they got back to the swamp and saw naked kings appearing out of thin air in the sky and falling into the swamp. When the bodies hit the surface, those floating men approached them and sing this soothing song, sending the kings into their last journey. After what they witnessed, travelers called these creatures the King Suters. They eliminate one of them before they reach a king who fell recently. Then, they realized that the king's hair did not become magical without the touch of the creature. That's why they started to collect the hair by avoiding the soothers. Later on, they weaved the hair on their wrists seamlessly to have access to the power. This power gave them a privilege to reach the king's memories. First thing they realized, these kings were coming from different times. Some of them were from the distant future, and some came from the last centuries. Over time, they find a way to wander around these memories and manipulate this power to witness the future and the past. Even used it with mind tricks, deceiving or controlling other people's feelings. And that's it. Thank you so much for your interest. If you have any feedback, I would like to hear them in the comments. Please like the video and don't forget to subscribe. Until the next time.